All right, looking at the readings for this week 12. First question, talking about key factors contributing to the growth of programs. Um, yes, I guess some of the factors are policy driven. You had a couple big policies: Smith-Hughes Act, primarily Secondary Vocational Act in 1963, which took I guess primarily a lot of the funding and a lot of the money was in secondary schools for vocational um, education and programs, and moved that uh, to higher ed. And that movement of funds, you know, whenever community colleges saw they could get an increase in that funding, took advantage of that. But a lot of it is the employees at, let's say that you were just entry level job that could be where you could move up with some additional training, specific training to your job. You could go in, get a certificate, or just get additional training, take that, get it a promotion. And so employees drove that up, but also employers started driving it up. Employers saw that they could take, and in some instances, if you're an employer, you can sit here and say, all right, go and get a 2-year certificate or something, instead of someone maybe going to a university getting a degree, and you can pay that person who has the certificate less money. And so it's employers kind of seeing that as an opportunity as well. So you had a couple different shifts that has really pushed that vocational um, that vocational technical program growth. It became ingrained into a lot more community colleges' mission, and so therefore it took a bigger role. The next question talks about prevailing criticisms of vocationalism in community colleges. Cohen and Brar talked about how it's not really a focus, or it shouldn't be really be a focus of community colleges. Um, you know, I guess when especially looking at vocational education tracking, the way they track students is very much at where they're focused on the end goal, which isn't that uncommon, but it's hard to track whenever you're looking at tracking vocational education, because sometimes people are just hopping in to get a couple classes so that they can move up, not necessarily working through a certificate, and so it can be really difficult to track the success. And so, how do you know that you're really doing what you're setting out to do? Um, let's see, and one of the criticisms kind of gets back to also that employer demand that we were talking about earlier. Um, Employers looking to cut some costs. One way of cutting that costs, um, could be paying people less money, because pushing them to just get a certificate other than a full degree. You have to pay those people as much money. Of course, at the same time, they're trying to uh, get people with the best training as they can. Um, One of the things is, whenever you're looking at criticism still, um, we talked about kind of hard to measure success, but there's the growth in for-profit schools. Um, yeah, and combined with the reduced state money allocations for vocational training, speaks to kind of maybe why you don't necessarily need such a focus on vocational training, because you've got um, less money. More money is being put from the state, at least. More money is being put towards, okay, how many people are you graduating with associate degrees? How many people are you transferring out? And so whenever there's not as much money there, those programs can get cut, or at least the importance of those programs becomes diminished. Some of the current challenges and two approaches. We've mentioned some of these challenges as we talked about funding being moved around, not really being allocated for vocational training certificates, more being pushed towards associate degrees and whatnot. But two programs in particular, you have vocationalism, which and the other one is kind of this lower income strategy for workers. So first of all, that new vocationalism, is really what you're looking at there is, um, I guess the best way to describe it is to try to get students in a position where they are not just taking just entry level jobs. They're trying to give them more training, both specific technical training, but also in the workplace training. And so in some of that, what they're trying to do is really aligning. Can you align what's going on in high school with community colleges, so that students can kind of go through, kind of make it more of a seamless transition. One of the big things is that students have to dedicate that and make that decision that, hey, I'm gonna push through with this, and it's starting at a younger, not a younger age, but it's starting earlier where they have to kind of make that choice. With the lower income strategy for workers, uh, you're taking, I mean, almost as if anywhere in higher education, but they're taking some minorities or lower income students, um, and trying to give them put them in a place to succeed. So get them a job, start getting them more training so they can move along that job, start getting more money, and kind of focuses on, certainly it's focusing on those lower income. Um, but for me, it's just that, continuing to get more education, continue to get more training so that they can get better and better jobs, um, and so that their children become maybe this middle class, or maybe at least take steps to get to that middle class. So it's providing opportunity, which kind of, if we've learned anything with all of the community college readings, it's about providing opportunity and providing access. So once again, more interesting stuff, and that's it.